floats, fly lines, even boats.
Gear up for 2020 by joining us Saturday, March 7th at our Fly Fishing Gear Swap and annual store sale from 9 to 3.
That's at Blackfoot River Outfitters across from Lowe's on Reserve Street.
Do you know a high school student who knows how to work hard, compete, and be a giver in everything they do? Do you know a high schooler who excels in the classroom, who exemplifies school spirit, and is involved in improving our community? Nominations for the Mattress Firm Student of the Year are now being accepted. Nominees should exhibit 3 core values: working hard in all they do, competing in school clubs, sports, or other activities, and giving back to their local communities. A new student will be selected for each week of the fall and spring semesters. They'll not only get a chance to share their story live on Tootell and Nuanez, but they'll also have a chance at a $3,000 college scholarship at the end of the school year. Head to mattressfirmmt.com/students to make your nominations today, and let's celebrate our hardworking students. Don't enter the madness without the knowledge you need. When it comes to filling out NCAA tournament brackets, you can rely on luck, or you can get yourself ready to win the Tootell and Nuanez Bracket Challenge by watching the stretch run of the regular season and every conference tournament at Paradise Falls. Come down to Paradise Falls to watch every college basketball game you need to prepare for the tournament, and be sure to enter the Tootell and Nuanez Bracket Challenge with your chance to win $400 in free food and drinks from Paradise Falls. Leap into March Madness in Paradise at Paradise Falls.
Hey, it's David with Garden City Plumbing and Heating. When clogs occur, water is stopped from draining properly. If it can't go down the drain, chances are the water is going to want to come back up, causing dirty water to make its way back into your home and potentially causing serious damage. If you are currently experiencing slow or backed up drains and would like to have an expert come out and take a look, contact us today at 728-5550.
I'm here with Deshane Barnett from the Missoula Urban Indian Health Center. Deshane, who can use your services?
Our services are actually open to everybody. So a lot of folks think you have to be a Native American to come receive services with us, and that's actually not true. So we do have funding from the Indian Health Service that goes only to Native American patients, but our services are open to everyone. We accept Medicaid. If you're trying to get an appointment and they're hassling you because you only have Medicaid, come see us. Our services are available to absolutely everyone in Missoula.
For more information, visit muihc.org.
Do you or your business have audio needs? Missoula Broadcasting Company has you covered with full-service audio production studios, fully staffed with a suite of equipment and tools to produce professional studio-quality audio. Anything from podcasts, radio commercials, social media campaigns to audiobooks. If you can hear it, we can handle it. Missoula Broadcasting Company is your audio headquarters. For rates and more information, call the Missoula Broadcasting Company today at 406-721-6800.
It's census time and time to make it count. Montana!
Filling out the census is easy, fast, and safe.
When you fill out the census, it means Montana gets our fair share of funding. Nearly $20,000 for every person counted.
And that means better schools for us. So when the census starts this March, remember to fill it out. It's important.
Make it count, Montana!
Sponsored by the Montana Department of Commerce, aired by the Montana Broadcasters Association and this station.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's 4 o'clock. Welcome to Tootell and Nuanez, Montana's only statewide sports talk show. Touchdown! Broadcast on 102.9 ESPN Radio for Western Montana and across the state on SWX Television.
I like football!
Now, sports talk from Montana for Montana. Live from the Kurtz Polaris studio, here is Ryan Tootell and Coulter Nuanez.
Hello, Montana. The Grizzlies and the Bears tomorrow in Missoula. What does Ken Palm have to say about it? Break it down. We'll give away some wings. We'll tell you how to get your kids out on the pitch and get them active, and maybe a little bit of save the paddleheads as well as our ESPN Roundtable. It is Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio and SWX Montana Television. Outstanding to be with you on this very fine Wednesday afternoon. Hope you are having a wonderful day. Thanks for letting us be a part of it with you. We appreciate that very much. If you'd like to find us on the World Wide Web, we have made it easy and accessible for you. 1029ESPN.com. That's where you go. That is the website. You go there. You listen live on the stream. The stream is available all the time. It is available thanks to Opportunity Bank, your local bank, your opportunity. If you'd like to pick up your phone and call, you can do that as well. 329-1899, 329-1899, the phone number. All guests join us via the Rankage Brothers RV phone line. Let's take a look at the show today. We're going to get into the Grizzly Northern Colorado basketball game through the lens of, or with the overarching sort of backdrop of, the Ken Palm rankings. We'll go through what those are and the analysis that is Ken Palm and what that would mean, what that looks like here for these two teams, and if it means anything for Thursday night, tomorrow night. We also, by the way, within the context of this first segment, we're going to give you a pair of tickets to tomorrow night's game. It's the kind of guys that we are. We're happy to hook you up. So couple of tickets to the second-to-last game of the season at Dahlberg Arena for the men's basketball team. Is going to be a great matchup and a really fun atmosphere, I'm sure, tomorrow night. Really looking forward to it. We also will have Todd Johnson from FC Missoula here, our Pepsi Youth segment. He's going to come in, tell us how to get the kids out there playing some soccer, so we will go through some things with him. We also will have a Wing It Wednesday. I have Boise-themed questions today. Coulter, what do you got?
Big Sky Conference Tournament MVP.
Love it. Okay, going to get snake around the same territory, you and I, on those ones. Top of the hour, looking forward to this. It's our ESPN Roundtable. We do it every Wednesday. It's going to be a fun one. Saeed Pridgett and Kendall Manuel, two seniors from the Montana Grizzly men's basketball team, joining us and kind of tag teaming the roundtable this time. But we've had both of these guys on individually on the roundtable at various times over the past year and change. But we brought them on together just to talk about the development, the progression of this season, a senior season, the interesting nature of the team and the way that it has coalesced and come together. So I thought it was a great conversation with them. We will bring that to you at the top of the hour. So there you go. That is our show outlook today. Coulter?
What's up, Gus?
Well, I was going to ask you. Is everything okay?
Why do you always ask me that?
You're wearing black.
As if I would say otherwise if it wasn't.
That's right. So
we're here on the radio. No one cares about me.
Nobody cares about our problems. That's right.
That's right. So let's talk about sports.
Okay. You look great.
Thanks. I'm just I'm wondering what's going on in Missoula, because I have asked 20-some people in my life how they're doing the last 2 days, and every single one of them gave me the same answer. I haven't slept in days.
Interesting. You know what? I woke up this morning, which I rarely do. Well, I do wake up in the morning, so I should say, qualify the statement. But at like 5:30.
Yeah.
Now,
that's 2 days in a row.
I do not wake up at that time of day. So what got me up, I don't really know. Actually, I do know. I won't explain to you all that went into it, but if you have small children, you can take your best guess as to why I was awake this morning, but awake in such a way that I wasn't going back to sleep, even though I tried. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird deal. It was a little light this morning, though. Who cares? Let's move on. Ken Palm, Coulter.
Yep.
Would you call it the industry standard of rankings for college hoops? Who knows?
You don't want to hear my opinion on Ken Palm or on any other analytics.
Okay.
But it is. I would say it's an influential piece of the media. I don't know if that necessarily means the industry. I think that there's a lot of coaches that buy it and a lot of coaches that don't.
But all the coaches look at it. Whether they buy it or don't buy it, I think they're aware of it. And
I will say this. I do think there's some parts of Ken Palm that are really good, because I think some analytics projections are stretching it a little bit. And I think that baseball specifically has gotten way too heavily analytics-based. I think it's gotten to the point where people are now learning how to play baseball based on analytics.
Right. Rather than letting the analytics be the byproduct of the game you're playing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that part is somewhat, honestly scary, because you're talking about computer extrapolations influencing human performance. But here nor there, I do think there's some parts of Ken Palm that are great, like usage rate and things like that, or 3-point percentage against, and like Northern Colorado, for example. I wouldn't have known Northern Colorado is so good at chasing people off the 3-point line if it wasn't for Ken Palm's statistical analysis. So I do think that there's some value in it. I also just think that sometimes if you go all in on analytics, I think it's a precarious situation. I'll say it like this. If you go all in on analytics, you might be able to use it to your advantage to be good enough to be the Houston Rockets. But you'll never I'm serious
Yes,
though.
right.
But you will never be good but you'll never be good enough to actually win a championship. Yeah. That takes so much more.
There's a bunch of different facets to that Ken Palm does. They rank all kinds of things, different sorts of things, but also they have their actual own Ken Palm rankings, which are the 1 through whatever it is, 360, based on all of the factors sort of coming together. David, I think, has done a nice job for us of distilling down what that is. Essentially, you're talking about the Ken Palm ranking being it's an efficiency-based per possession measurement. Okay. That takes in the amount of points that you would score or allowed per possession or in a game that's adjusted for tempo and strength of schedule. So this is supposedly taking into consideration, like, okay, you're scoring 95 points a game, but you're playing really bad teams. So against better teams, we're going to reduce that. Where do you fit now? In a very layman's way, but they're doing it, like you said, with sabermetrics, with statistics, which is probably the best way to do it. If you're going to do it, what does that ultimately mean? Here's what it means for this game Thursday, for what it's worth. Northern Colorado, this is in the nation, okay? This is irrespective of conference, division, anything like that. Northern Colorado is ranked 83rd in the country. They have the highest Ken Palm ranking in the Big Sky Conference. The Montana Grizzlies are 126th, exactly one spot behind Eastern Washington, a team who, by the way, they beat handily twice. Northern Colorado is ranked ahead of teams like Iowa State, Oregon State, San Francisco, Georgia, and the Utah Utes. They're all below Northern Colorado. And again, the Ken Palm rankings also is supposed to sort of flatten things out. This is supposed to tell you which teams are actually good, which teams are actually okay, and which teams are actually bad, regardless of, again, the conference, the competition, and so forth. It's supposed to supposedly take that into consideration. I'm not sure that I'm buying that if Northern Colorado plays Utah or Georgia, that they're going to be, victorious in those basketball games. Now, maybe
are they ranked? Oh, right, because they're ranked ahead of those teams right now. Okay, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'm not saying they wouldn't win at times, but like to be 30 spots ahead of Utah, I mean, that's pretty significant.
The hierarchy of college basketball and the way that it works in terms of building your non-conference, to me, it makes the strength of schedule so hard to actually decipher. Because I think if you're a top 50 team and you're Gonzaga, you're Duke, or you're North Carolina, you're going to play your 5 cupcakes that you're going to beat by 30 at home.
Yeah.
You're going to play 10 pretty like opponents, maybe most of them where you're a slight favorite against. Then you'll play in an invitational tournament or two, and then you play in the ACC or you play in the Big 12. And so the strength of schedule is just getting fortified all the time because no matter what, even if you're playing the worst team in the Big 12, you're still playing a team from the Big 12. I have such a hard time with it because, especially out west, there's some teams that they can't fill the non-conference schedule without either going on the road and playing a money game at a Power 5 that you're 99% going to lose, or welcoming Montana Tech to town. And it's accentuated when you're Montana because Montana has such a hard time getting anyone of quality to come to Missoula. And it usually takes a home to get even a UC Irvine to come here.
Right.
So to get games in November at home to break up when you're playing Washington, Oregon, and New Mexico, you got to schedule Montana Tech, but then that automatically just kills your strength of schedule. Yeah. I'm looking at Northern Colorado's schedule right now, and I think that's probably part of the reason why they are slightly ahead of Montana in this Ken Palm ranking. Also, Northern Colorado.
I don't want to say, Coulter, that you're wrong on all of this, but you're wrong because based on the non-conference strength of schedule, Montana's is significantly higher.
It is higher than Northern
Colorado.
That's interesting because that's what I was going to say is that Montana played a harder schedule than what I'm looking at here. Northern Colorado did play Texas. They played Northern Iowa, they played West Virginia, but they also played
Montana's non-conference strength of schedule was 34th in the nation. Northern Colorado was 150th.
So interesting. Well, I think part of the gap is the fact that Northern Colorado has 3 more overall victories.
Right.
They had a winning record in the non-conference. They were 7-4 as opposed to 4-7.
They're a 20-win team right now, aren't they?
They're a 20-win team. I think they're the only 20-win team in the Big Sky Conference right now.
So is Eastern Washington.
But that's right. Eastern Washington is as well.
When you look at these rankings, David, because you spend time with this stuff, you know this stuff. When you see Northern Colorado at 83, and of course they do have the head-to-head win over Montana, I don't know how much that is taken into consideration when you're putting this stuff together for Ken Palm. But how does this feel to you? Does this look like you're like, yeah, Northern Colorado, clearly the best team in the Big Sky Conference, the team that you would expect to, ultimately come out of this thing?
I think probably. So the other way to look at the Ken Palm ratings is that they measure possession by possession. So it doesn't matter what kind of style of basketball that you're playing, and that it measures how you're doing regardless of wins and losses. And I think the chasm between Northern Colorado and Montana, I just think that it speaks volumes in terms of what the perception is around those two teams. And something that I've been saying is that we glossed over it in November, but I think the Montana Tech loss really looms large.
And see,
no doubt.
One thing
very large.
Here's one thing that I think
it's going to be killer for Montana's seeding. It's going to cost them a line or two.
No, I think they're going to be. I mean, you're absolutely right. They're not going anywhere. I'm not sure they're going anywhere, even with a win over Montana Tech.
That's
true. You know what I mean? But here's the one area, though, on the Ken Palm thing. You talk about the separation there. Again, 83rd is where Northern Colorado is. 126th is where the Grizzlies are. This is an analysis of the entire season. And one thing that I don't think it takes into consideration is the progression that a team can make over time. And if ever there was a team that has gotten better over the course of the year, it's the 2019-2020 Montana Grizzlies.
Ironic that Montana Tech loss will be the thing that kills them in the seeding, and also was the thing that was the turning point of their season.
See, I would be so interested, because this does take heavily into consideration non-conference and all that. What if we started at Big Sky Conference play, or just conference play in general across the country, how these rankings would shake out at that point?
So another interesting thing about these Ken Palm ratings is they measure luck, and one of the big things that people have said all season is that Montana has been one of the most fortunate teams when it comes to luck. And interestingly,
now, how do you measure luck exactly?
Well, I mean, Montana. I mean, what David's saying is correct, because Montana got lucky with Matt Hauser and Sal Nuhu both being out when Portland State played in Missoula. They also got lucky with Jarek Harding being a scratch 7 minutes before tip when Weber State played in Missoula.
True. I mean, that's fair.
Well, interestingly, Northern Colorado is ranked 292nd in luck in the country, and Montana is 68th.
Interesting,
and Eastern Washington is 5th.
And also too, to further David's point too, when you look at it, Montana might have the 34th hardest strength of schedule in the country, but Montana had no good or non-conference, right? They had no good wins in their non-conference.
Right.
I mean, Northern Colorado might have played a slightly weaker, but they beat Wyoming. I know Wyoming's a little bit down. Sorry, David, but at Denver,
very down.
Right. I mean, they're very down. They lost by 20 to Northern Colorado, so I mean, they're very down. But I mean, they beat Denver, who's always okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than Montana Northern, Montana State Northern. It's a better win than that.
Is it better to beat Denver or lose to Arkansas?
I mean, I think that's the eternal question, right?
Exactly. And again,
I think another thing that Northern Colorado is getting credit for is that they were competitive in a lot of their games.
Yes,
against bigger opponents.
Right.
Montana, if you're watching those games, they were never even close.
Right. Montana was a little in it early with Stanford. But other than that, they were not in it with Washington or Oregon or New Mexico. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, Northern Colorado went to overtime with Northern Iowa. I think they lost by 6 or 7 to West Virginia. So they were actually in games. So yeah, I know it's definitely here's the thing. I think that so much of this season has been a calculated plan by Travis DeCuire. In other words, the last 2 years, I really do think the Grizz were chasing not just the Big Sky Conference Championship, but as high a seed as they possibly could have gotten. And they couldn't. I think a lot of that actually affected their mentality in terms of the pressure that they harbored going into money games.
Yeah.
And they didn't play loose like they needed to, and they lost every single one of them. And that's what cost them getting higher than a 14 seed, or in last year's case, a 15 seed. Whereas this Grizz team, I think Travis DeCuire all along has been like, we're going to play a powerhouse non-conference, and we're going to figure out how to play for first place from stem to stern. And if and when we can make a run through the Big Sky tournament, we don't care if we get a 16 seed, because that's going to be the best thing that's for the program. Imagine if this core of guys gets to the tournament this year. Just getting there is going to be so huge. Obviously, you'd want to win for your seniors, but I think the three seniors Montana has are mature enough to understand their contributions to the program as a whole, and to understand that they might be laying the foundation for something a lot greater. Like, imagine if you could actually keep the core together of the young guys. Where will they be at in several years if they get to play in the tournament this year? That experience is invaluable.
It's Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Can I offer you what I think might be one of the potentially great ironies that I could think of? What if the loss to Montana Tech, if Montana was to win the conference tournament, the loss to Montana Tech looms so large, and maybe Montana loses another game, maybe, in the regular season here,
right?
Whatever, that they actually have to play as a 16 seed in the first four and actually get the first win for the Big Sky Conference in a decade plus, because they are actually so much further down the list of where they've been the last two seasons on the 68 team bracket.
I mean, that's the reason why the whole statistic that is longest streak among conferences to not win a tournament game is dumb, because there's a couple other conferences
that have only beat 16
seeds. Right. So
the Big Sky has the Big Sky ever had a team in that game?
No,
ever?
I don't think. I'm not sure. I can't remember the last time the Big Sky actually had a 16. The Big Sky's been stuck at 14-15 since Montana got the 12. I guess, no, they've been stuck at 14-15 since Will Cherry and those guys got the 13. They played New Mexico and then Syracuse both times. Actually, the New Mexico game went okay.
Yeah.
Syracuse game did not, and it's been 14-plus since then.
I got one more question. Can I steer this ship just a little bit to the side here? David, now, I don't know that you want me asking you this question, and you don't know that I'm going to ask you this question. I don't even know that you know that I know this, but I did notice it today. You walked in this morning to work with Eggo waffles out of the box, like just in your hands, like you were just carrying waffles for breakfast into the office. Were they frozen still? Had you cooked them? What happened with the waffles?
I had toasted them at my house this morning.
But you didn't eat them at your house?
Well, because I was in a rush to get to the office.
Oh, man.
Now, let me tell you a little story about David, because I had a suspicion that this might be the case where you're like, I got time to cook them. I need to eat, but I can't eat them here. I've got to go. You asked me to give you a ride one day. I went to your house. I called you, said, hey, I'm here. You said, okay, great. It's snowing. It's soaking wet outside. You come outside, backpack on, jacket on, sweatshirt, socks, and no shoes. You're carrying your shoes, walking through the soaking wet driveway to get in the car. I said, David, why you're going to have wet socks all day? Why didn't you put your shoes on? And you said, I just didn't want you to have to wait, which is tremendously courteous on your part, I must say, but unnecessary. I mean, you couldn't have eaten the waffles. You couldn't have put your shoes on to keep your socks dry for the day.
I mean, I was just trying to, get to work.
No syrup, man.
We need to teach this guy the secrets.
I don't like
about Missoula
syrup.
broadcast.
I don't like syrup.
Really? Okay, so you just go straight butter?
They were buttered, yes.
Okay.
Very good.
Tootell Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN. Just open the window a little bit on our esteemed producer.
To circle back around and finish this up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sports.
I understand why Northern Colorado is ranked significantly higher than Montana in this. I even understand why Eastern Washington and Montana are kind of backed up against each other. The Big Sky is the Big Sky, when it comes to the conference tournament, especially over the last 15 or so years, is different than almost every other tournament at the mid-major level. Because, and I'm not just saying this because we're on the radio in Missoula and on the television around the state of Montana. The favorite in the Big Sky tournament is the Grizzlies, if the Grizzlies are in the Big Sky tournament, period. So you can pull out all the analytics, all the things. It does not matter when the Grizz have been the 6th seed like they were under Don Holst, they still win it. When they're the 3 seed like they were under Larry Kostoviak, they win it. When they're the 1 seed like they've been under Travis DeCure the last 2 years, they win it. And when they don't win it, the only other team that wins it is Weber State. And so, I mean, what was the stat that I came up with the other day? Since 1991, the Grizzlies have played for 20 Big Sky Tournament championships, and Weber State has played for 18. So out of the last 30, the Grizzlies have played for 20, and Weber has played for 18, and they played each other probably 10 times amongst those times. So, I mean, it's a pretty safe bet to pencil the Grizz at least into the championship game. That said, I do think that Northern Colorado, I think Jeff Linder is a tremendous coach. I think his sideline antics are spectacular to watch, oftentimes exhausting. He doesn't necessarily have the command that he needs. He goes crazy, but he gets his guys to play their absolute butts off.
You know, I got to say about Coach Linder, I think I've interviewed Coach Linder once or maybe even twice on this show. Listen, it's very rare that you have a bad experience interviewing a coach, even if you're like, well, I'm not sure about him as a coach or whatever. Sometimes when you're trying to, but these guys they're doing it. They're great to talk to. And I've always been impressed with him talking to him. But the first time I ever came across Jeff Linder was him coaching in a game on a sideline, and I said, "You have got to be kidding me!
He's crazy.
This team is going to lose every game they ever play for as long as he's the coach. Like I mean, it's really it. If that's the only picture that you have of it, it is a to me resoundingly negative one. Just period. But I have to say, clearly there's more than meets the eye.
No doubt.
Because he gets players who play for him. Like,
no doubt.
It's if you are just the stamping around coach and there's nothing else there, it's not going to go well. I don't care who it is.
Totally.
So I have to give Coach Linder credit, and also if and when you watch him tomorrow night, keep that in mind, because when you're, especially on the road, fans look at him and go, get this guy out of here.
It takes a certain maturation process, too. I often think a lot of times when guys are first-time head coaches, they go way more crazy because they just think that's how it's supposed to be done.
They become a caricature of the position that they are, which is a head coach.
I used to talk to Brian Fisher about this all the time because you know Fish. I mean, Fish is as funny and cool of a guy as you'll ever meet. Going in Fish's office is like Christmas. I mean, it's great. But he would just go ballistic during games. I mean, just going insane, screaming at guys until they would look at him during the course of the game, and then they would get burned on defense and then get yelled at even more.
Right.
It was amazing. And he did actually hone it in a little bit. Actually, last year, I thought, unfortunately, when his daughter passed away and he was going through a lot of emotional stuff, he reined it in a ton, and his guys played super hard for him, and that's why they won, I think, 6 out of 8 down the stretch. And they lost the tiebreaker, so they didn't get a bye, even though they probably actually were one of the 4 best teams. But regardless, I mean, we've seen it at Idaho right now, too. That first time I ever watched Zach Klaus coach, I mean, he's an interim coach trying to fight for his job. He finally did get the interim tag removed, but the guy just goes insane.
Yeah.
But I think Linder has matured a little bit in that realm. But Linder, the thing I respect about him the most is when we talk about this Grizz Greats, the coaching tree, and we've talked about Stu Morrill and then what's come after him, Don Verlin to Idaho, Randy Ray to Weber State.
Sure.
Well, Linder is a disciple of Randy Ray. The thing that I respect about Linder the most, his teams look nothing like a Stu Morrill team, a Randy Ray team, a Don Verlin team, none of that. His teams look completely unique. They're like a Jeff Linder team. They find high-usage players to run on the ball. They run a bunch of ball screen stuff on offense, and on defense, they deny you better than anybody maybe in the country on the perimeter, limit your three-point shots. And so I think the fact that he's crafted his own style in such a short amount of time, he's also won 20 games multiple times. He's also won a postseason tournament. He's a hot name in the coaching business right now. He hasn't won the Big Sky, either the regular season or the tournament, but he's a guy that's on a lot of lists. I mean, I've heard rumblings that he's on a short list at Boise State. He's a guy that he's a rising star in the coaching business, and I respect him for being original despite the coaching tree that he came from.
Yeah. It's Tootell, Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. It's going to be a fun game tomorrow night. Would you like to go? Why don't you give us a call right now, 329-1899. We got a pair of tickets for you. Caller number 3 to 329-1899. You call us right now. You got yourself a pair of tickets to the Grizzly Northern Colorado men's basketball game tomorrow night in Missoula. We will happily send you and your friend or significant other or some stranger you meet downtown sometime. I mean, that's the way I'd like to do it. Just find
you want to go to the Grizz game?
You want to sit next to me at the Grizz game? Let's do it. It's a great way to make a new friend. 329-1899. We'll do that. Up next, Todd Johnson from FC Missoula. Going to help us. You got kids out there, you stick around. Going to help us with these kids. Get them outside here in the spring next.
The Advocates want you to remember that warmer weather means more people will be out and about. Remember, slow down in residential areas. Kids will be out riding their bikes and their scooters or walking their dogs, so pay attention to the road. If you are injured due to someone else's negligence, the Advocates can help. Speak with an experienced attorney today for free. The Advocates will handle the hassle after an accident so you can focus on getting better. So call 640-4444 or chat with an attorney online 24/7 at MontanaAdvocates.com. You deserve an advocate.
This is Mike Nugent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Berkshire Hathaway provides Western Montana with full-time real estate professionals for you whenever you need us. Our reputation as the state's most knowledgeable and available real estate group has helped build unmatched trust in the Garden City and statewide. If you have been thinking of making a real estate move in the short or long term, give me a call. No pressure, no expectations. Just professional opinions and service at whatever pace you are comfortable with. Give me, Mike Nugent, a call today, 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
Whether you're shopping for your first home, need something bigger, or downsizing for retirement, you need a mortgage. Talk to the experts at Farmers State Bank or start the application process online at farmersebank.com. Our mortgage lenders have many options to help you into the home of your dreams, from conventional to in-house, VA, rural development, and more. Farmers State Bank, your Montana bank since 1907, an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
College basketball madness is happening again, and there's only one place in town to catch all the games, the Desperado. Catch every buzzer beater, every Cinderella story, and every upset on the Despo's 32 TVs, while getting your fill of the best hot wings Missoula has to offer, of course. Bracket busted? The Despo's got you covered there too, with cold drinks by the pint or pitcher. The Despo is your headquarters for NCAA basketball, NHL, and NASCAR too. The Desperado Sports Tavern on South Russell, across from the Y.
Coulter, gracious mercy, and thank the heavens, it is time once again for the NC2A men's basketball tournament. It is here, and you and I are back again with the Tootell and Nuanez Bracket Challenge.
We hook people up all over Missoula all the time, but this will be an outstanding contest with entries from all over and your chance to win a variety of great prizes, including a $250 tab at Paradise Falls or $250 worth of equipment from Aspen Sound.
That's right. We got great prize packages for first, second, and third place. Selection Sunday is March 15th, and then you got to get your entries in between then and the start of the tournament on Thursday, the morning of the 19th. Coulter, I'm floating with anticipation and excitement, and of course, you can compare your brackets to Coulter's and mine and try and beat the dopes on the radio. Won't that be satisfying?
More than $1,000 worth of gifts we'll be giving to you, so stay tuned to Tootell and Nuanez 4 to 6 p.m. each weekday for details on the ESPN Missoula Bracket Challenge, brought to you in part by Paradise Falls and Aspen Sound.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I am Ryan Tootell. Colton Nuanez as well. Here's some sports news for you. The Montana softball team dropped its final game of the Amy S. Harrison Classic on Sunday, losing 3-1 to host UC Riverside. The Grizzlies, who finished the tournament 3-1, included a shutout victory over Michigan State on Saturday. They were limited, though, to 3 hits by a pair of UCR pitchers. The Highlanders scored the only 2 runs they would need in the bottom of the first on a 2-out infield single that scored 2 off Montana starter Tristan Achenbach.
Montana opened the season 4-1 at the Louisiana Tech Big Easy Classic before dropping 4 out of 5 at the Marucci Desert Classic in Las Vegas and 4 out of 5 at the Razorback Invitational, although they did beat number 23 Arkansas at their own tournament. The recent surge brings UM's record to 9-10 overall. Montana will play 5 games against St. Joseph's, UNLV, and Grand Canyon next weekend at the Lopes Up Classic in Phoenix.
The Class AA divisional basketball tournaments open on Thursday with the Eastern AA boys and girls playing in Billings and the Western tournaments being hosted at Missoula Sentinel. The Western AA boys tournaments get underway with top-seeded and undefeated Missoula Hellgate taking on one-win Missoula Big Sky at 9:30 tomorrow morning, while the AA girls in the West, they get going at 12:30 with Helena Capital taking on winless Missoula Big Sky.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is brought to you by Aspen Sound.
3 nights at the motel under street lights in the city of palms. Call me what you want when you want if you want. And you can call me names if you call me up. 3 nights at the motel under street lights in the city of palms. Call me what you want when you want if you want. And you can call me names.
You're looking at me because you're looking at me. Look at this can, and we won't talk about the can, but I'm out over my skis. I drank the whole thing and then realized there's 180 milligrams of caffeine in here.
It says Super Espresso on the can, and it is brown.
Most people false advertise, and it's usually just like little weenie one-shot espresso, not triple. So, anyways, when I come to your house at 3 o'clock in the morning, because I'm still awake, you better have the door open.
Door's always open at my house, you know that. Todd Johnson in studio with us from FC Missoula. Todd, where are you at on your caffeine intake? You need some? You need a little help? What's going on?
No, but I need to paint a decent picture since we're on the radio.
Yeah,
we can't see this can.
Theater of the mind.
It truly looks, I don't know if I can use this word, shot glass on the radio.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It's really that size.
It's potent. We will leave the logos out, but
yeah,
here you
so
go.
that's fairly good stuff. I've never tried one of those. I might need. That's caramel.
Yeah, I mean, I got deceived by the front 0 sugar, 40 calories, 5 grams of protein. Those are all great things.
Sure. Yeah. Well, good luck with
that.
that.
I mean, usually the coffee drinks have like 300 calories and 10,000 grams of sugar. But
you enjoy the ride, man.
Yeah.
You got 8 hours of work in front of you.
I do have 8 hours of work in front of me. That's the unfortunate part.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Excellent.
Todd, welcome in, man. Good to have you back.
Good to see you again.
Our youth sports segment brought to us by Pepsi Cola of Western Montana. We do this we normally do this on the first Tuesday of every month. We do it on the first Wednesday to get the schedule right here with Todd so we could come down. But Todd, you are the president of FC Missoula. You've been in here before with us, so we appreciate you coming in today. But it's March, man, and it is ever so gently starting to warm up a little bit out there. We're seeing some grass and so forth and so on. I know that makes soccer players pretty happy. And as we head into the season and the spring, well, first of all, tell us about FC Missoula in general. I think everybody's aware of Football Club Missoula, et cetera, and so forth. But sort of all the different things, a broad view here on the club and what you do.
You bet. So obviously, this is my third year as president within the club, and it's a youth soccer sports club. Age range is anywhere from 8, 9 years old all the way up to high school.
Yeah,
and we've had just a wonderful. When I say club, I really should say family, because we have roughly 9 teams that are going to launch into the spring 2020. Some of them play truly competitive soccer, meaning like league around Montana through Montana Youth Soccer Association. Yeah. The younger kids, boys and girls, are getting involved with just doing some practicing and some friendlies around Missoula as they kind of you bridge that gap from recreational soccer, from YMCA to club.
Competitive.
And there's a big difference in not only competitiveness, but also with cost. And so you just want to take it slowly but surely. And I think, from our club perspective, we do a good job of that. And that's why I call it a family. And, it's like you were saying, launching into spring this year. I remember sitting here a year ago, and I think the scenario is a little bit different with the weather. I think we saw some more white stuff out there. And, and this has been an unbelievable wintertime where I think we're going to be able to get outside, right, as opposed to doing gym practice inside. So, everything is good. And can I say just really quickly, like you said at the front of the show, is with Pepsi 406, Jevin Staples, who kind of leads the show here in Missoula for Pepsi, they have been a huge part of our family coming into the second year, and I couldn't say enough of local Pepsi and what they've done for our club.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, that's why we're doing this. It's because of them. So it's awesome, and it's great, I think, to help for the community, everybody in Western Montana to know what's going on, because I think sometimes if you don't know, you don't know, and then you go, well, where do I go to look for stuff? So this is perfect. Coulter, you go ahead.
Tell us how people can get involved, because obviously signing up your kids is a big part of this equation, but you guys probably need help from the adult perspective too, officials, coaches, things like that. So what are all the ways that people can get involved with FC Missoula, just soccer in the Missoula community in general?
No doubt about it, Coulter. So there's a lot of different ways for again, as a family to get together and help each other out. So, obviously, first and foremost, we're here for our kids. That's why we exist. And so we want to make sure that we want to create an ultimate environment where, number one, they have fun in a competitive landscape, I guess you want to call it. And just when they leave our club, whenever that is, if it's 2 years, 4 years, 6 years down the road, it's like, man, I learned a lot, right? And not just like kicking the ball on the field, but just teamwork, confidence, everything that goes along with it. We talked about this last year, right? How you develop as a youth.
Right.
So, but parents are getting involved on, number one, supporting their kid, but number two, becoming referees. We're asking kids, our athletes, to be referees once they get to a certain point so they can better understand the game and that kind of stuff. So, and of course, our coaches are amazing. Our managers are amazing, which, of course, are parents of players. So it truly is this ultimate, like, everyone helps each other out.
When it comes to the schedule and the cycle, I guess, of what a year and the seasonality of soccer in Montana, what that looks like, how does that set up for FC Missoula?
You bet. So there's two different seasons. The bigger season is going to be what's coming. We're coming into spring. Yeah. And then obviously we have a lesser of with the fall, simply because high school soccer ramps up, so they don't play club. Mm-hmm. So basically all levels of age are going to play in the spring. Like I said, we have the kids that are probably not competing in league play out around Montana. Kids are probably 8, 9, 10 years old, aren't doing that yet, but they're doing friendlies, with Strikers, Missoula, Polson, down in the Bitterroot, and then, of course, we've got the older kids doing league play. So it's funny you mentioned this. Today, I had to go through the entire schedule because last weekend we had a scheduling meeting in Helena to make sure we have teams that are doing MISA League, Montana Youth Soccer Association, that geographically they're going where they want to go. Competitively, they're playing people that they want to play with. And so that is done. So now practices start, gym time, outside eventually, and then league starts up in early April. That'll go all the way through first part of June, and throw that in with some tournaments here in Montana and also out in western Idaho and Washington.
For families who have maybe been on the mountains for the last couple of months here and are just starting to kind of, it's starting to be spring, especially for some of those youngsters, those 8 to 10-year-olds, is there time for them to still maybe get on and get in and be
No doubt about it. So, first and foremost, fcmissoula.com is where you go. You're going to land us on, or you're going to get landed on our website. Right underneath the banner, we have a wonderful picture of our 2008 girls. This is coached by Gordon King, amazing guy, amazing team, and that's kind of how you start the process. And as soon as you get on there, you're going to see that my contact information is on there. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Since the last time you were here, one of the biggest stories of last summer, sports-wise, period, was the Women's World Cup team and the stars that those girls all became. Have you seen an uptick in interest in soccer, especially on the female side of things?
There's no doubt about it, and that's a great point. So a lot of our girls, want to emulate, right? They look up to, that's their mentor. Mm-hmm. And there's no doubt that having that, and that's what I love about the game of soccer, is the positive leadership that these, and I still call them youth, even though they're like in their 20s. They've dominated the game, but they also create this positivity and just teamwork mentality, which is what we try to get our kids to do, boys or girls, right? So, yeah.
Well, I know when you get into league soccer and club soccer at the older ages, high school level and stuff, it's very competitive, mm-hmm. It's very serious, and you're working at that. One thing I really love, though, about the kind of the younger level, the younger kids in this, is sometimes it's like, well, who's the person who can be there, whether or not they know anything about whatever the sport is, and it's sort of a broadly like a babysitting session that surrounds whether it's a basketball game or a skating or whatever it might be. this is super fun, I think, for the young kids, but it's also organized, and it's also learning the sport. So it's serious in that sense, but not obviously to the extraction of the fun that they're still going to have doing it in an organized and sort of directed way, right?
Totally. Yeah, and that's the great thing about at least the way our club is run is you can have every facet of competitiveness. You can have truly still kind of a recreational YMCA, a step up and above, right? But then you have these teams or these players that want to play at a premier level. And we want to be able to afford every player and every team whatever road that they want to take, you know. And going back to Pepsi 406 is because of their sponsorship, it allows us the opportunity to do things with teams and players to take them to the next level, whatever that may be.
Right. Well, that is fantastic. You got kids out there, boys and girls. You got grandkids running around, nieces, nephews. Go to fcmissoula.com. Look at all the different things they have because there's a broad scope and range of places to get connected, as Coulter and Todd have both pointed out, not just for the kids to play, but also for parents to be involved and find a fun thing to kind of connect on outside and be an active playing a sport. It's a great thing. Todd Johnson from FC Missoula. Todd, thanks so much for being here again, man. Good to see you.
Thanks, Brian.
The U Sports segment is brought to us by Pepsi Cola of Missoula. Pepsi Cola Missoula, proud supporters of youth athletics. We'll take a quick break. Give us a call, 329-1899. I got my favorite set of questions that I've ever had. Ever for Wing It Wednesday right now. 329-1899. Coulter, you are going to be so mad at me. I cannot wait for this. 329-1899. We got wings for you to the Desperado. We'll do a little trivia right after this.
In Western Montana, we know shopping local matters, and you may think you'd pay more for the quality and customer service that comes with it, but not at Selway Armory. Selway Armory is locally owned with knowledgeable specialists that can answer your questions. In addition to the expertise, though, Selway Armory also has a bigger selection and lower prices than the box stores. When you're in the market for firearms and accessories, save money with the experts at Selway Armory. Selway Armory, 2825 Stockyard Road, Unit E6, and online at selwayarmory.com.
Seafood lovers, it's time to get cracking at the Montana Club's annual Lobster Fest. Feast on one of our 19 mouth-watering lobster dishes, live Maine lobster, succulent lobster tail, and tantalizing one-of-a-kind lobster specialties. 3 big days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, March 5th through the 7th. It only happens once a year. Don't miss it. See the menu at montanaclub.com. The Montana Club's Lobster Fest on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
For more than 40 years, Boyle, Devney & Meyer has been among the most trusted accounting firms in the state of Montana. Boyle, Devney & Meyer is an experienced, diverse accounting firm rooted in historical Missoula with a look toward the future. They've established a reputation for excellence, teamwork, and community involvement. Whether you're a small business that needs tax assistance, or you're a nonprofit, or are an individual looking for a personal, comprehensive financial plan, Boyle, Devney & Meyer can help. Give Boyle, Devney & Meyer a call today, 721-3555, or visit bdmcpa.com.
The Advocates want you to remember that warmer weather means more people will be out and about. Remember, slow down in residential areas. Kids will be out riding their bikes and their scooters or walking their dogs, so pay attention to the road. If you are injured due to someone else's negligence, the Advocates can help. Speak with an experienced attorney today for free. The Advocates will handle the hassle after an accident so you can focus on getting better. So call 640-4444 or chat with an attorney online 24/7 at MontanaAdvocates.com. You deserve an advocate.
Grizz Greats, the Coaching Tree Podcast, Episode 7 is out now, featuring a University of Montana legend, Larry Krystowiak. Coulter, Coach Krystowiak had one of the great playing careers at the University of Montana and then returned to his alma mater to be the head coach for 2 seasons in 04 and 05 and 05 and 06, went to the NC2A tournament both seasons, and in his second and final season at UM, they became the last team in the Big Sky Conference to win an NC2A tournament game.
We call this the Grizz Greats, and he is one of the greatest Grizz of them all. Larry Krystowiak, an in-state product who went to high school in Missoula was the only 3-time MVP in the history of Montana basketball and the only player to ever score 2,000 points and grab 1,000 rebounds in his decorated career. A phenomenal career for Larry Krystkowiak that continues to this day at the University of Utah.
Just search Grizz Greats wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe and enjoy the entire series of Grizz Greats, available thanks to Blackfoot Communications, Stockman's Bar, and Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate.
Tootell and Nuanez on 102.9 ESPN Radio for Missoula.
Welcome back. Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Hey, it's time for a Wing It Wednesday. I got questions, and I'm very happy with my questions, so give us a call. 329-1899. You want wings to the Desperado Sports Tavern, the best wings in the city of Missoula, 329-1899. And you can go over there and have some great wings like Coulter and I did yesterday. Thank you very much.
Yum.
And you can enjoy yourself with my spectacular work here that I usually hate this segment. I love this segment. Usually hate doing the questions, as Coulter can attest, because I'm so poor at writing trivia. Today I've nailed it. It's Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. Hi, howdy out there across the state. Glad to be with all of you. You can also check us out on the YouTube channel. YouTube. Just check out Tootell and Nuanez there on the deal, and you can watch us that way as well. Did I do the Twitters yet? No? Thank you for listening.
I mean, when you do the show all day, every day, you just never know.
At Gus Tootell, at 102.9 ESPN, and at Skyline Sports MT. Those are your Twitter handles.
I pay attention when you're talking to me. I don't pay attention when you're talking to them.
Oh, come on now. You never pay attention in either case.
It's not true. I'm always paying attention. I have a very messed up brain.
It's all coming together now on your 130 or 140 megs of
180, thank
caffeine.
you.
How many is in a regular cup of coffee?
Between 80 and 100.
So it's like two cups of coffee guzzled in about 5.5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to get you home. Coulter,
Hope so.
Next week, by the way, Coulter is going to be in Boise all week long.
Yep.
Okay. I will be heading down on Wednesday, and Coulter will be there doing the show remotely from there Monday, and Tuesday I will be in the studio, and then we will both be remotely doing the show there. We'll have a show all week long. It's going to be great. Really looking forward to this. Also, again, want to remind everybody, go on to ESPN.com and join the Tootell and Nuanez group for March Madness. Okay, the group has already been made. I do want to point out, and I am going to try and fix this. You know, Coulter, that I'm a complete dope when it comes to technology. I can't even text. I mean, it's a miserable thing here. So,
solid choice.
All of the past groups that were also named Tootell and Nuanez 2019, 2018,
sure,
are also they're still available, and you could do the thing. I mean, I understand what they want to do. Like if you're in this group with your buddies and you just do the same group every single year with these, 15 people or whatever it is for the March Madness tournament. I'm talking about the bracket challenge. Did I even tell people that? I'm losing my mind. Anyway, they're there, and then you can just click into them and be in them again. But this is a whole separate, brand new group again this year. Okay, so you got to get into the newest group, which is the Tootell and Nuanez group for 2020. It's just called Tootell and Nuanez. But you go onto ESPN.com, you go to the fantasy, the page or whatever it is, and click on the tournament challenge, and it will take you there, and you get into the Tootell and Nuanez group. And in that group, you're going to have an opportunity for free. Of course, the entry is for free to win a prize package, which is made. It's going to go to 3 different winners. $500 though in total, coming from the Paradise Falls, from the Aspen Sound, and then straight cash homie, $225, something like that, $250 from us here at the station because we like you. Okay, we're going to divvy all that up. The most goes to the winner. Second most to the second winner. third most to the third winner, and all the rest of us get zilch. But isn't it fun to play? I mean, this is the point of the whole thing. It's March Madness.
There's a group on here that's called Tootell for Life or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Did you create that?
I don't think so. That sounds like something that my sister might have done once upon a time. And there's a certain level of malaise and indifference on the, that you got to add. Like, you get all raw on the Tootell for Life, and then you say whatever. Kind of, maybe not.
You guys loved yourselves.
Well, one thing you can't say about the Tootell, there's no lack for confidence. Tootell Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Happy to be with you. Hey, if you want to do a Wing It Wednesday, give us a call, 329-1899. We will get you some wings over to the Desperado Sports Tavern. You go over there, have the best wings in the city of Missoula, according to you, the voting public. My questions all revolve around Boise for, I think, pretty obvious reasons. Coulter's all revolve around what? Tournament MVPs in the Big Sky in the Big Sky Tournament MVPs.
In the Big Sky Tournament, yep.
Okay.
Speaking of Boise, real quick, I said when we were talking about Jeff Linder, I said that he was a name that had been floated at Boise State, and I have to amend that comment. It's not as if Leon Rice is on the hot seat at Boise State. He's actually done a great job at Boise State. Leon Rice was just one of the hot names before Washington State hired Kyle Smith. So then there was a lot of speculation within the Big Sky Conference that if and when Leon Rice moved on to Washington State, that Jeff Linder would go there. The one other piece that is the connecting factor there is that Jeff Linder spent time at Boise State after his time at Weber State. So he's a fit there as well. So not implying that Leon Rice is going to get fired or that they would hire Jeff Linder to replace him unless, of course, he moved on to a different job.
Right. Well, it's, good to get the thing straightened out. Coulter, you got to do that. When it comes to this tournament, Coulter, this year, it seems to me, though, that last year's team, we've been so impressed with this Montana Grizzly team this season because the expectations were different. But we've talked about this all the time. We talk about this, especially in the NFL, all the time. Guys who come into the league that you expect to be great and they're only very good, you're like, well, this guy stinks. Well, no, he doesn't stink. He's very good. He's just not the greatest of all time like you were putting it on him to be. And then other guys who you think nothing of all of a sudden show up and play really well, and you think, how great is this guy? Well, if you took it objectively, you'd be like, yeah, he's a good player, but it's just because he's playing way over the expectation that you had for him. Montana is, by ranking, by standings as it is right now, the best team in the Big Sky Conference. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
They're also, are they exactly on pace of what the team did last year in terms of the Big Sky? Were they 16-4 last year's Big Sky team?
Yes, they would equal the league record, the league win total of each of the last 2 years. Granted, 2 years ago it was an 18-game schedule, 16-2. But either way, they could equal the 16 wins that the team had each of the last 2 years.
My only, the only thing I'm just sort of trying to get to is that we are so impressed with this Montana Grizzly team, and I think rightfully so. When we get to the tournament, and everything changes at the tournament, as we know.
Yep.
I still maintain that it was nothing like a sure bet. Nothing is in the tournament, but it was so much more likely, even with what was a grind and a struggle at times, and nothing like the clean fluidity, and we know all the changing starting lineups that took place and everything like because of injury and so forth. Last year's team seemed so much more likely to just go out and just figure it out and win the tournament anyway than this year's team. And if you ask me to pick a team to win the tournament, I'm not saying I wouldn't pick Montana this year. But what I am saying is this, to me, is just as wide open as it gets. And after the first day of the tournament, when all the 5 teams have the byes, when we get into the round where there's 8 teams left, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. Nothing will surprise me. Like, there's almost no outcome that I'm going to sit here and go, I mean, who's the number 8 team going to be? Weber State? What if they play Northern Colorado or Eastern Washington or Montana, who's a 1 seed, and they win that game? I mean,
Weber State right now sitting in 9th.
Okay.
It just all comes down to their health at this point. Yeah. But I agree with everything you just said except for one thing. The one thing that would surprise me is if Montana lost.
In the first day.
Period.
Plenty more coming on this. It's Tootell and Nuanez 102.9 ESPN Radio. Hour 1 in the books straight ahead. Our ESPN Roundtable. Kendall Manuel, Saeed Pridgett, two of the great players at the University of Montana, and two of the reasons that Coulter has made this bold statement. They're going to join us next. A roundtable coming up right after this. Mildenberger Motors in Hamilton, family-owned for 65 years. Best prices on new and used cars and trucks only at Mildenberger Motors.
Here at Florence Coffee Company, we developed our medium roast coffee beans to make consistently smooth and delicious coffee drinks. You can take the beans home yourself so you can have Florence coffee anytime. Pick up a pound of whole bean or ground for only $12. Better yet, if you bring your own cup, we'll give you a 12-ounce strip coffee free when you buy your coffee beans. Come to any Florence Coffee location or go to florencecoffeeco.com.
Florence Coffee Company.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Alignment and Brakes and Shocks and Wheels and Tires. Some tire places don't offer all that, but we do to help keep you safe. And during the Les Schwab Spring Tire Sale, save up to $110 on a set of 4 select tires. Stop by or book an appointment at leschwab.com. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952. Limited time offer while supplies last. Actual discount amount depends on tire size and type. Cannot be combined with other offers. Details at leschwab.com.
Hey Gus, you ever heard of Magic Johnson?
Rings a bell.
One of the greatest basketball superstars of all time played for a man named Judd Heathcote at Michigan State. And guess what? Judd Heathcote started his career at the University of Montana.
Coulter, did you know that 2 former University of Montana head coaches have been head coaches in the NBA and 1 on Team USA?
Isn't that amazing?
And that's why we've created Grizz Greats, the Coaching Tree podcast. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Just search Grizz Greats.
It's a phenomenal and historic podcast series proudly presented by Blackfoot Communications and Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate.
Everybody knows that high school sports generate suspense, excitement, and drama.
They also generate higher grade point averages, stronger work habits, and greater self-esteem.
Everybody knows that high school sports give us more value for our entertainment dollar.
They also give us leaders committed to strengthening communities right here in Montana. The true value of playing sports in school can't be measured in wins and losses or dollars and cents. Studies show that participation in sports, along with other extracurricular activities, is one of the best ways to teach leadership, cooperation, accountability, and other invaluable life skills. Don't just stand on the sidelines. Encourage the young people you know to get in the game. When you do, you'll be helping them get ahead in life. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Montana High School Association and the Montana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
If you are hurt or disabled, you may be entitled to benefits from an insurance company or Social Security. I'm Chris Helmer, an attorney at Clark Fork Law Offices. Our Missoula firm specializes in worker compensation, personal injury, and Social Security disability. There are many unknowns when injured or disabled. The other side is fighting hard. You should too. Call Clark Fork Law at 728-0168 for a free consultation or visit clarkforklaw.com. Again, 728-0168.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Good afternoon. It's Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and here's some sports news for you. The Montana softball team dropped its final game of the Amy S. Harrison Classic on Sunday, losing 3-1 to host Riverside. The Grizzlies, who finished the tournament 3-1 overall with 3 wins, which included a shutout victory over Michigan State on Saturday, they were limited to just 3 hits by a pair of UCR pitchers on Sunday. The Highlanders scored the only runs they would need in the bottom of the first on a 2-out infield single that scored 2 off of Montana starter Tristan Achenbach.
Montana, they are now 9-10 overall. They have 5 games coming up against St. Joseph's, UNLV, and Grand Canyon at the Lopes Up Classic. In other news, though, Jess Lockwood, champion bull rider out of Volberg, Montana. He's won the PBR world title 2 years in a row. But he had an MRI on Monday that reveals he has a complete left hamstring tear. He did it after scoring a 91.5 on I'm Legit Too, one of the best bulls in the world. But bummer for him, he's going to be out for 6 months. That'll probably cost him most of the season.
Did it happen riding or did it happen dismounting?
It says suffering during a 91.5-point ride.
Jess Lockwood, shout out. You're a better man than I.
This ESPN Sports Center is presented by Clark Fork Law. Now from the Kurtz Polaris studio, here is Ryan Tootell and Colter Nuanez.
I was even looking at it. I follow Jess Lockwood on Twitter because, not that he's some tweeting machine, but he often posts highlights of his rides. You don't know about this kid. First of all, he's 22 years old. He's already a two-time world champion. He's one of the greatest bull riders ever. There's only been a couple guys that ever won multiple. He's 22. He's also from Volberg, Montana, which is population 80.
I think 22.
And he's tiny.
Right.
He's tiny.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the kid, the onions, is just amazing.
There's one thing, though, that ain't tiny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the kid is unbelievable. And, I mean, I've never seen a kid that has a streak of 90-point rides like him. He every time we read it in the news, he's getting a 90-point ride. He's unreal. He rides the best bulls in the world more often than not, which never happens. But he posts pictures of this. He posts a picture of his 91-point ride. Great ride, and his foot gets caught in the stirrup right when he dismounts, and then he gets bucked again, and you can see his hamstring just tear. Oh, man, that would hurt.
I will say, though, just as an aside, bull riding, absolutely the sport, seems to me, where being like not even being smaller, but a certain weight to strength ratio of like a flyweight or a featherweight. So helpful, right?
Certainly. I mean, Tough Hedeman was a pretty above average sized guy.
Yeah.
He's one of the only real like big guys I can remember that was a true bull rider. Most of the other guys, Luke Foster and all those guys, small.
Yeah. It is hour number 2. It is Tootell and Nuanez. It is great to be with you. Thanks for letting us be there. We are also on the World Wide Web, 1029ESPN.com. You can go listen live on the stream. The stream is available all the time. Thanks to Opportunity Bank. Your local bank, your opportunity. Also, if you would like to listen any time of the day or night, you can do so on the podcast. The podcast is available all the time. Just search Tootell and Nuanez on your favorite podcasting platforms. It'll come up there. You can subscribe, rate, review, do all that. We appreciate it very much. Go listen to the podcast at your leisure, okay? That's what it's there for. It's there thanks to Blackfoot Communications and the Widmer by Wyndham Hotel. Colter, it is time for our ESPN Roundtable. It is presented by Paradise Falls, and this is a fun one. We went down to the university yesterday. We sat down in the Champion Center with Saeed Pridgett and Kendall Manuel. These are two kids that we've both interviewed multiple times, whether it's been post-game, at practice, and even we've done individual roundtables with both of these guys. But as two seniors whose games, but also whose roles have just developed tremendously this very season, and necessarily so. Both seniors on a young, broadly speaking, a young team. We thought it would be a great opportunity, not to talk to them about some of their personal stories, which we've covered in the past, but more about this season and the growth that they have seen as a group and individually within the context of a senior year.
Both these guys have a lot to be proud of because we've talked a lot about it this year. It's very hard to be a guy that has name recognition in a league like this early on in your career, and then when you become a senior, be able to then exceed the expectations of your own performance both individually and as a team.
Yeah.
And these guys both have, which has then helped their team exceed expectations as well. I really think that Saeed Pridgett is one of the most fascinating players that has played for the Grizz, not in the fact that he himself is that interesting. He has an interesting story, but it's not like some crazy story like some guys have. He's so interesting because he came here as one of the biggest recruits Travis DeCuire ever got. And then DeCuire sat him down and said, here's the deal, son. You're going to have to swallow your pride and not be the dude for several years. And if you know Saeed and you know his personality, that's not it.
Yeah.
He's an alpha dog to the max. And he was trying to lead this team straight out the gates his first year at Montana. And I think, you don't want to say rubbed wrong, but I think that it was too soon because they had established leadership.
Mm-hmm.
I also think he's somebody that's flown under the radar in terms of his star power because people know he's a tremendous player, but he's always been a little bit of a quiet guy when it comes to his exposure in the media. He's not the guy that they're taking down to the coaches' show and parading around as this dude because they had guys that were so good at that, like Michael Ogine and Jamara Coe.
The other thing, too, Coulter, about Saeed in particular, his game is so diverse and versatile.
Right.
That there sometimes isn't the one thing where you go, oh, my goodness. Like when you go Michael Ogine, you can talk about the athleticism and the leaping and the flash. And when you talk about Ahmad Rory, it's the lock-it-up defense and the great pace and great decision-making and things, like that. And there's a million things you can say, and they would all be true about Saeed Pridgett. But if I said, what's the best thing about him, it might be his ability to finish around the rim. That's
his footwork in the post.
It's not the stuff where you're like, man, I gotta watch this guy play until you watch him play, and then you go, oh my goodness. I mean, he's been a whisper away from like 3 or 4 triple doubles, which just doesn't happen. I mean, it's again just so very impressive.
No question, and the reason I think that his story is fascinating when you look in terms of just the history of the program. He hasn't had a chance to be the absolute dude until right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's absolutely the MVP of the league if they win the game tomorrow night.
I mean, do you say that because you think the only other guy who might be is Jonah Radabaugh?
No, I think that the front runner amongst people around the league is Mason Peatling. And I think that's it's going to make me so mad. Not that I think Peatling is a great player, and I think he's gone from a guy who was a serious project when he first walked onto campus at Eastern Washington to now he's a double-double machine. But he's a 16-10 guy, so his numbers pop. He's won Big Sky Conference Player of the Week 4 times because he gets double-doubles all the time. But he's not going to ever drop 30, and he's also never going to will you to win at the level that Saeed Pridgett does. Mason Peatling is a mechanism within a great offense, and he's a great defensive rebounder too. Yeah. But he does nothing close to the amount of work that Saeed Pridgett does in a game, both from a facilitation and scoring standpoint, but also just from a leadership standpoint too. But the thing about Pridgett, though, is regardless of if he wins the MVP or not, somehow he's quietly climbed his way all the way into the top 8 in program history and scoring, and he is knocking on the door of being in the top 5, which is hallowed ground for the Grizz. And that's with being able to be the dude, the actual go-to dude on the team for the second half of his junior year and his senior year, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Other guys like Larry Kristoviak and Michael Ray Richardson, they were the dude from day one.
Yeah. Right.
And so that in itself is impressive. But then also, I mean, if he leads them to a title and defies expectations, he will have a very unique position in Grizz history. So I hope that people will appreciate what he is and remember him properly.
Enjoy our ESPN Roundtable presented by Paradise Falls.
Well, welcome into the ESPN Roundtable, and happy to be on the campus of the University of Montana for this one in the Champion Center with 2 seniors from the Montana men's basketball team, Saeed Pridgett and Kendall Manuel. Guys, thanks so much for being with us. And last week of the regular season, we'll start there. While you're in it, I know that you can't just sit here and reflect and get all sentimental about it, but it's got to be crazy, right, that all of a sudden, like, here you are and you got 1 week of the regular season left before you go to Boise in your senior season, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, like you said. Just knowing that the last few games in Dahlberg is kind of crazy, and you don't want to think about it as much because this place has given us a lot and a lot of energy and just a lot of support.
Yeah, just like he said, it's crazy to think about and kind of a thing that you're gonna look back at and remember all the good times for sure. And I'm just excited to see what happens at the end of this week.
But also, I mean, these are 2 huge games, right? I mean, Northern Colorado, who is right there, battling with you for first place and tied with Eastern Washington. So it's no rest for the weary. I mean, you're finishing with 2 huge games, right, in the course of your season?
Yeah, those games are tremendous, honestly. I was playing Northern Colorado. That's a big game for us because obviously we lost to those guys, so we owed them a little payback. And with Southern Utah, we kind of left there with a sour taste in our mouth because we felt we could have did a lot better. So these games are definitely huge.
Yeah, there's some extra motivation going into these games. games besides just the championship on the line too, and obviously Saturday's senior night, so and there's extra motivation in that too.
Say the mini rivalry sort of with Northern Colorado. It's interesting because everybody talks about the Cats. But, I mean, in reality, you guys have dominated the Cats during your career. It's been more like Eastern Washington, Portland State, and Northern Colorado that have been the true challenges to Montana. They beat you earlier this year. So, I mean, what's the mentality going into this game? And what have you thought of just battling those guys? Because I know Jonah Radabaugh, one of the best competitors in the league. So just kind of going toe-to-toe with the best guys at Northern Colorado the last 4 years. What's that been like?
It's been crazy, like you said. Even like go back to Reno when we played those guys. The game was crazy. We could have went either way. We had a few things go our way, which with the offensive fouls calls, and like you said, those games have been great because they have some great players over there who aren't backing down. Just know they're going to bring the A game every night.
Is that the greatest game you've ever been a part of in terms of just like the way it went and the stakes that were there? That Northern Colorado game 2 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. Or I would go with last year when we were in Bahamas and Amaya had the half-court shot to put us back in the game, and then I made the free throws to win it. So it's probably up there for me.
If you're playing in the Bahamas, it's probably pretty good. I mean, that's not a bad way to go. Fair point, Saeed. But, you know, Kendall, for you as well, I mean, 2 years now at the University of Montana. When you look at the sort of landscape of your time here in those teams, where's Northern Colorado at on that list?
They're definitely one of the best teams that, regarding our competition that we played and everything, and everybody is always knowing it's either Eastern Washington, it's going to be Northern Colorado, Montana, and then you can throw Weber up there too for the top spots in the league. So we know it's a big game, and I'm very excited.
Saeed, we're sitting here at the Champions Center, and we're actually in the basketball room for the first time. Usually they throw us in one of the football rooms, but this in itself is something that's changed since your time here. The building of this place, but there's been a lot of other things that have changed both for you individually as well as for the team. So just take us through. What have been some of the biggest changes, and what's it been like navigating, especially adding a facility like this, but also just going through the college basketball career that you have?
There's been a lot of change. Honestly, the Champions Center has helped us a lot just because of like body and recovery, and a lot of guys are able to get stronger, and a lot of guys are able to focus on things that they weren't probably as good at or good at doing before they got here. So, like I said, just knowing that this place has improved my 4 years has been a lot, and for the future guys, they'll appreciate what's been done here.
What's changed most for you individually? Maybe not even as a basketball level, but just how do you think you've grown over the last 4 years?
This program has taught me a lot, just basically being a man and just learn how to take care of business off the court, just knowing that I have to learn how to communicate on time and just making me responsible for my own mistakes and stuff that I do, just prepare me for the real world and when I get my own job one day.
To watch you transform and mature has been fascinating because you came in here with a lot of confidence and you could play right away, but you kind of had to buy into different roles that Travis put in front of you. Was that hard for you, and how has that gone for you now that you are here a senior and you're getting to be one of the leaders of the team, one of the best players in the league?
I wouldn't say it was hard because I was always taught to appreciate what I got. But like I said, just like those roles the coach gave me, I just knew like just me coming here, trust the process. And like I said, I would never came here if I didn't believe with the plan that coach had for me. And like I said, I'll do whatever to get on the court. So if I had to do any role, I'll take it.
Kendall, when you transferred in here from Oregon State, people were like, okay, you know, we know Kendall's a great shooter and he can do that, but what is he like? What's his actual basketball playing skills? You know, and this year especially, you transition into a role where you got to be a lot more. You got to do a lot more, have a lot more usage offensively and defensively. What's it been like for you to demonstrate all the different aspects of your game and grow in that here in your senior season?
It's been all I've been asking for, honestly. I just wanted an opportunity, and I went to Oregon State, was hoping I would get that opportunity, and I didn't get it. And I came here, and fortunately, my senior year, I've been able to get that opportunity. And you know, one thing I always say is make sure you stay ready so you don't have to get ready, and that's what I came into this season having that mentality, just making sure that I'm ready to display everything that I can and help this team win.
You were, of course, on the team last year. Saeed, you've been here the whole way through. But when that group of seniors last year graduates, what sort of conversations did you guys maybe have with each other or with others in the offseason to talk about, okay, now it's our turn here as senior leaders. What are we going to do to make sure that this program stays at the level that it's been at?
Me and Kendall talked a lot this summer, and just knowing that we have a lot of young guys, so we have to know that we're being watched like we're under a magnifying glass because they don't know anything about this program. They don't know how the culture is or anything. So we just knew that coming into the season that we had to kind of be perfect, even though it's hard to be perfect and nobody's going to be perfect. We just knew that that's the mentality that we had to have just so we can teach the young guys the way to go.
Yeah, and just like you said, we knew that we had to lay the foundation for everybody and make sure they understand how this thing goes and how they should follow along. And Coach always told us, I'm going to get on you guys. I'm going to have to yell at you just because I'm going to need you guys to be the example and be able to be our leaders that can take criticism, and then those young guys will be able to understand, like, hey, like he's doing it to them, so then we should be able to take it as well. So we knew it was going to be a big change, but we were excited for the journey.
Saeed Pridgett, Kendall Manuel, the ESPN Roundtable.
So you talk about that element of it, because Coach DeCure is an incredibly demanding guy. He's demanding of everybody. He's even demanding of us. If we say something or do something that it's not online with Travis, he's calling us or he's calling us into the office. I mean,
got to do push-ups actually in the office,
But I love that about him. But what we've learned with Travis too is that if he comes at you, if you fold, he doesn't like that. If you can take it, if you can come back at him, and then he respects you. Seems like you two more than maybe any other guys on the team have really embraced that element. What's it been like just kind of learning from Travis and learning how to just navigate the way he coaches and how much he demands of you guys?
I feel like playing for Coach Travis and him coaching me, it teaches you a lot because it's crazy because he knows how to approach every individual differently. So he knows how to get on certain guys, and he knows who could take it one way or take it another. So just being under his coach, being under him has been a lot for me because he taught me how to take criticism, and also he let me. I've talked about it a few times to him, but it's not in a disrespectful manner. So he knows like that I'm just trying to get the best of what he's teaching me.
Same question for you, Kendall, but in a different circumstance because you were with Coach Tinkle and now you come to be with Coach DeCure for your last 2 years. So just adjusting to the style and the person, the personality changes and so forth. What's that been like for you?
It's been a good transition. Trav is someone that he respects me as a man and really lets me go about things how I need to, and he doesn't really approach me in any negative way or anything. He just he does what he's got to do as a coach, and I understand that and know that no matter what, he's just trying to look out for me and do what's best for me. Because if he's not getting on me or anything, he probably doesn't care, And so I just had to understand that and be able to understand that Trav just cares about me at the end of the day, and that's why he gets on me.
Saeed talked about the way he's grown. Travis always talks about expectations, not rules. How's he helped you grow?
Just off the court, that's the biggest thing I've got for Travis, just learning off the court lessons, just because basketball is going to be here, but at the end of the day, you have to have life after that, and he's just been able to teach me how to go about things, certain situations, and how to behave as a man, and be able to confront different types of situations regarding teammates, interactions with different coaches, whatever it may be, but that's the biggest thing is off the court lessons.
Coming into this year, there was varying expectations for this program, but I know internally they never wavered. So what was your mindset coming into this year, and did you think you guys could be in first place going into the last weekend of the season?
Yeah, my mind frame coming into the season was basically just to prove everyone wrong. Like a lot of people just doubted us because we lost so much, which isn't hard to do because, like I said, we lost a big group of guys that was 4 seniors that were pretty good. So just knowing that me and Kendall, we feel like we could take the challenge and put the team on our back and lead them the right way. So my mentality just was coming in to prove everyone wrong.
When you get to this time of year, for a player, it's got to be the most fun time of year in March in college basketball. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, but also there's pressure that comes with that as well. How do you navigate between being confident, feeling pressure, and just being excited about this on this, last run?
To be honest, with these two, with the other thing you just named, I feel like it isn't really that hard to feel pressure because if you love the game and you know that you've been true to the game by putting in the work and just doing everything you can do possible, there's really no pressure. Just knowing that you just trust the process and it'll get done.
Yeah, just like you say, we put in a lot of work into this, and the more work you put in, the more confidence you're gonna have going into every type of game or situation, and that pressure's not really there. It's just knowing that I put in the work and the results should come. If they don't, I know that I put everything into it, and that's just the case.
Did you grow up a Grizz fan, Kendall?
I did, but my mom was always a Cats fan, so it was funny when I got recruited here, and she was like, man, I don't know how I'm deal with wearing all these Grizz colors now.
It's an interesting full circle story, right? Because most guys from Montana don't get a chance to even go out of Montana, but you did and played in the Pac-12. But it seemed like even Oregon State's interest was even more in you than the two Montana schools, ironically. Yeah. But then you get a chance to come back. So just take us through the entire journey that it's been for you and now finishing your career here at Montana.
Yeah, no, it was weird. Out of high school, I didn't get a lot of attention, recruiting, and everything from the Montana schools, and obviously that was something that it hurt a little bit, because I was always hoping, maybe I could put on the Grizz colors or something and represent the state. And then after that, I was like, all right, well, I got to go move on, and went to Oregon State, had a good run there, and then when I came back. Finally, those schools, they reached out and told me, like, hey, man, like, we apologize, we overlooked you and everything. Like, we want to just let you know that we want you back in the home state and want to make sure that you can represent your state and make sure that you get everything you want out of this college basketball career.
Say, when you were getting recruited, I know that Weber State was in the mix as well. I saw your dad talking to Coach Ray after the Weber State game. There's such an Oakland connection there, too, such a Bay Area connection with Damian Lillard going there, Davion Berry, a bunch of other great guys. But coming from a place like California to Montana, it's a huge change. What did you think Montana was going to be like before you got here, and how is that maybe different from what it has been like for you?
I kind of had a good idea of what Montana was like because I watched Will growing up as a kid, so like I kind of talked to him about it a lot. And he just kind of like painted a picture for me how it would be, and just knowing that it wouldn't be easy just because it's cold here and you're far from family. So it wasn't really that tough for me to pick Montana or even adjust to Montana because I kind of already had an idea of it just because the alum that talked to me before I got here.
Have you thought about what it's going to be like on Thursday and then on Saturday to walk out on the Dahlberg Arena kind of for the last time? And I know that you got to like stay in the moment and play the game and stuff like that, but do you allow yourself to consider what that moment is going to be like?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the game would be very emotional for me because my mother's coming to the game, and it'll be her first time coming back to Montana since my visit here. So just knowing that, just her being here for my senior night and it being her first time being in Montana for a game with me having a jersey on, it'd be a very emotional night for me.
And Kendall, what about for you? I mean, again, it's you're from Montana, but it's a career type of deal, and the last walk out there, what is that going to be like for you?
Yeah, I definitely thought about it too, and like so you said, it's going to be a very emotional night. Obviously, we got to go out and play the game still and make everything happen, but there's definitely going to be thoughts about, I gotta embrace this and enjoy this one more last time.
The Montana State women are like the most dominant team in the Big Sky. Sewed up the thing like a week and a half ago. They went out for their senior night and they were down 16 in like the late third quarter because they're just like kind of in the moment too and having that emotion. How do you go about trying to like put that away and still go out and play your game and play it the right way so that that there isn't any slippage?
Just go in and focus on the things that the coaches have the game plan. That's really all you can do. Obviously, it's still going to be in the back of your mind and whatnot, but we've lived for these situations and these different type of pressure moments and stuff like that. We've done this before, so I think that we will be able to control it and be able to go in and handle it as best we can.
I feel like the best way to do it is just make sure you play for the people that's here watching you. Not trying to play crazy, but just giving the effort that they will want you to play with just because they're here supporting us. A lot of people, families coming all across the world just to come see us play. So I feel like that's enough motivation itself and in it being a big game because we want to win this game.
Saeed, as a leader, what's been the toughest part about this season?
The toughest part about this season for me was I'm used to, like I said, I've always played with a lot of vets, so just the way I talk to people, I had to learn how to just adjust to certain guys, not knowing how I might be yelling a little too much for certain guys. So that's just me, my thing. I feel like I'm very aggressive on the court in the heat of the moment, so I had to realize like some people don't take it that well, and just adjusting and talk to certain people in a certain way.
And Kendall, for you, I mean, this has been an interesting team because it's kind of seniors and freshmen with a couple guys in between. So what's it been like for you? What's been the most difficult part of this year?
Just having to realize that some of the younger guys, they are just freshmen, and you come from high school and you come into a college, and fortunately for them, they've been in a situation where they're able to play right away, and that doesn't happen a lot for freshmen. So them being able to come in, you go from high school where you're the man, and you come into college and you think, hey, I'm still going to be the man type thing. And, college it humbles you sort of in that way. And just trying to be able to make sure that they're staying up and realizing, like, it's a process. Like, you guys are fortunate to play this year and everything, but a lot of people wouldn't even have this situation. So don't get down if your minutes are low or what your numbers aren't what you wanted them to be. Just being able to coach and help them through those types of situations, because Saeed went through it. He had to play a different role. I went through it. I had to play a bunch of different roles too. So just trying to make sure that they understand, like, there's a process to this, and everything you want will come from just being able to handle everything throughout all this adversity.
Kendall Manuel, Saeed Pridgett joining us in the ESPN Roundtable. I want to ask you guys about Boise, not from a basketball standpoint because it's too early. We don't know anything. But last year is the first year in Boise, so you have the experience of having been there, and you know the town, the arena, what it's like, what the experience is. Obviously, it was a great experience because you won the dang thing, so you could have played it in the middle of the Nevada desert. You would have been happy, I would think. But knowing that you're going back to this place that you have that familiarity with, what level of excitement is there about the tournament and what that is like to be at a neutral site and in a place like Boise, Idaho?
It's a great place to be at, honestly. The people there take great care of us. They make sure they provide us with a lot of stuff that we needed, Gatorade, water, which is like what a regular school would do for us. But I just feel like the hospitality there for us was amazing because they treated everyone special and nobody was treated better than the other. Just knowing that we're going to be treated well when we get there was an amazing thing about it.
Yeah, and touch on that, it's nice just because how much support we had in Boise. I mean, that arena filled with Grizz fans every single game, and so it was nice having that support around us. And also I have a bunch of friends and family around the Boise area, so it's nice that I'll be able to go down there and see all of them as well.
I want to ask you guys about being famous. It's weird. It's a weird thing. And
why don't you ever ask me? Come on.
You're already too famous. It's interesting, though, because in the Big Sky, if you play D1 basketball, you're going to have a certain level of people are going to be looking at you. But in Montana, you guys are stars. I mean, kids are lining up. They want your autograph. It's a huge spotlight, but also you can't mess up. I mean, you guys have a higher level of the way of accountability, the way you got to act in the community. So, Saeed, what's that like, just being a guy that somebody wants your autograph or a little kid is growing up wanting to be like Saeed Pridgett?
It's amazing because I was in their shoes one day. I mean, I was in their shoes before, so just knowing that, like you said, it's hard because you said we can't really mess up in their eyes. And like I said, everyone tries to be perfect, but it's hard to be perfect. So just knowing that we give our best effort to be the best guy we can and just making sure that we be the great role models and leaders that we can be.
Yeah, and to touch on that is, again, it's crazy for me just because I played high school basketball here too, so I was getting that same type of attention and stuff at 14, 15, 16 and all that, and I've had to control and be able to make sure that I'm in good situations and making sure I'm maintaining a positive attitude no matter what in any type of aspect, off the court, on the court, just because I know that I have that spotlight. And coming here in Montana, it's gotten even better just because how many kids, like you said, they're coming up and asking for autographs and whatnot, pictures, and it's something that I'm very grateful for, to be able to be in that type of situation, because I was definitely one of those kids looking up to all the Grizz players and everything too.
You had a background with Will Cherry, so I'm sure that was your favorite Grizz when you were younger. Did you have a favorite Grizz when you were younger, Kendall?
I used to watch Jordan Gregory a lot, actually, just because he was here when I was in high school. So he always used to text me every once in a while, just make sure my season was going well in high school, just stay focused on everything. But that's someone that I was always watching regarding the Grizz.
No matter what age you are, everybody has somebody that they aspire to be like. So 1 to 10, how much do you want to be like me, Saeed, when you get older?
11.
Yes! That's what I wanted to hear. I mean, the interview's over as far as I'm concerned right now. I got everything I wanted out of this thing.
I want to ask you about the turning point of the season, because we were sitting here when you got in the arena when you guys lost to Montana Tech, and we look at each other like, this is either going to be the best or worst thing that ever happened to this team. Saeed, do you feel like that was a turning point for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that woke us up right there as a team and just let us know that if we don't bring our A game or we don't bring the respect for each team, that anybody can beat us. So we can't take anyone for granted, and we got to come out there and go 100% every night.
Yeah, and I knew once that game happened, we would start clicking. People would start paying attention and being like, all right, well, if that can happen against them, any team on our schedule can beat us for sure. And so I think that's when we finally got the freshmen to buy in a little more and got some more people to buy in, and just being able to realize, like, hey, like, if we don't turn this around right now, this could be one of the worst seasons Montana's had, and we knew for sure that we weren't going to let that happen. So it definitely changed our outcome of the season for sure.
Saeed, growing up somewhere completely different, the Grizz probably weren't a part of your life until they were, but now they've been a huge part of your life. So just this whole experience, what has this meant to you, just being in Missoula these last 4 years?
It means a lot. I've gained a lot of extended family, and they've treated me well here in Missoula. Just knowing, like you said, it's much different from California because, like you said, going out to the grocery store, or just going to the mall, you'll get a random person come to you and just want to talk to you, and just even if you're in a bad mood, you really can't say no, but just because of how happy how happy they are to see you, and just like it cheer you up even if you're having a bad day. So just being here in Missoula has been great for me.
And Kendall, similar question, but a completely different experience for you because you probably knew who the Grizz were from when you were a tiny little kid, and so now to get to finish your career here, what will you take from this experience? What will you take moving forward as your time as a Grizz? I'm just going to cherish it, honestly, just because a lot of kids don't get this opportunity, especially a lot of Montana kids. It's weird that our state doesn't produce a lot of Division I athletes and people that are able to play at this level or anything. And so it's just a moment that I'm going to be able to cherish forever and look back on and be grateful for.
Saeed Bridget, Kendall Manuel, Thursday night, Northern Colorado at Dahlberg Arena. Huge matchup in the Big Sky Conference for the conference title. And then Saturday, senior day, senior night for these two and Jared Samuelson as well, and for the whole team. Come to Dahlberg Arena this weekend, and pay your respects to a great team and a great senior class as they get ready for Boise next week. Kendall, Saeed, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Love it, man. Sitting down with those guys, it's so interesting to hear them talking. I know, Kendall and Saeed, they both have like very deep voices. They talk, in kind of a flat line and stuff like that. But you say this all the time to me. It's so much different when whoever it is, for better word, when you transcribe like an interview and then you read the content of it and you go, wow, like as I'm reading this is really good. When my impression of an interview was like, well, I don't know, was it good or not? But just listening to those guys and sitting in the room with them, it's great, man. I really enjoy both of those guys and appreciate their time. And I think that they had a lot of really good stuff to say. We will be re-airing, by the way, the ESPN Roundtable tomorrow at noon, so you can hear it on 102.9 ESPN Radio. It will also be available at SkylineSportsMT.com as part of the Big Sky Breakdown podcast series, so you can check it out there for time immemorial. And it's brought to us by our friends over at Paradise Falls. Coulter, Paradise Falls, the reasons to go there, I don't know, a million of them. It's March. It's got a late happy hour. It's got a breakfast. It's got everything in between. Families, individuals, groups, teams. Oh, how many softball teams are congregating to Paradise Falls? All of them. Go there. Why not? Tell them about it.
And they are the presenting sponsor of our bracket challenge, so we thank Paradise Falls for being a part of that. They will also be doling out a whole bunch of prizes, up to $500 worth of prizes for the bracket challenge for first, second, and third. And because it is March, you don't have to wait till the tournament. They got month-long slam dunk specials. You're going to love this, Gus.
Let's hear it.
You get Huckleberry Honey Barbecue Thighs. That's boneless chicken thigh meat fried to a crisp, tossed in a sauce with hand-picked huckleberries and locally sourced honey for the barbecue sauce. That's $13.95. You can also get a steak sandwich, 8-ounce top sirloin, cooked to your liking, served with garlic toast, your choice of fries, and a salad. You can also get the filet and prawns special, $21.95 for a 6-ounce filet mignon cooked to your liking with 4 breaded prawns.
Wow.
Served with a baked potato and your choice of super salad. You can also get a 6-ounce filet mignon cooked to your liking with 2 pieces of fried halibut for $21.95. Go check out Paradise Falls, their slam dunk specials, and go check out Paradise Falls for all your March Madness needs, whether it's the last weekend of the regular season that we have right now, or the Big Sky Tournament next week, or the NCAA Tournament the last 2 weekends of March. Paradise Falls, 3621 Brook Street in Missoula. Missoula's coolest hotspot.
Did you say just for the halibut? You get it? Paradise Falls, boys and girls. Go there. We'll do a Wing It Wednesday. Talk to you about the paddleheads next.
The Advocates want you to remember that warmer weather means more people will be out and about. Remember, slow down in residential areas because kids will be riding their bikes or their scooters or walking their dogs or enjoying the sunshine. School's still in session, so watch for kids and make sure to obey school bus laws. If you're injured due to someone else's negligence, the Advocates can help. Speak with an experienced attorney for free. Call 640-4444 or chat with an attorney online 24/7 at montanaadvocates.com. You deserve an advocate.
This is Mike Nugent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Berkshire Hathaway provides Western Montana with full-time real estate professionals for you whenever you need us. Our reputation as the state's most knowledgeable and available real estate group has helped build unmatched trust in the Garden City and statewide. If you have been thinking of making a real estate move in the short or long term, give me a call. No pressure, no expectations. Just professional opinions and service at whatever pace you are comfortable with. Give me, Mike Nugent, a call today, 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
At Opportunity Bank of Montana, we know that checking accounts are not one size fits all. Let us introduce you to Opportunity Bank's full suite of checking account products, including personal and business options with no minimum balance and no monthly service fee. Or if earning cash back suits you, Opportunity Reward Checking may be the perfect fit. Need to earn interest? We have those options too. Call or come into Opportunity Bank for a checking account that fits you. Opportunity Bank of Montana, serving Montanans since 1922. Member FDIC.
Older people look at the calendar, may think about college basketball, March Madness, various things going on in the professional world, but this is an unbelievable time of year for high school sports.
In February, the competition really ratchets up in high school sports. We're headed toward the state tournaments of both basketball and wrestling, and we'll cover it all at Tootell Nuanez, 4 to 6 p.m. every single weekday on 102.9 ESPN.
That's right, covering what matters in the state of Montana. Montana's #1 sports talk radio show, Tootell Nuanez.
Everybody knows that high school sports generate suspense, excitement, and drama.
They also generate higher grade point averages, stronger work habits, and greater self-esteem.
Everybody knows that high school sports give us more value for our entertainment dollar.
They also give us leaders committed to strengthening communities right here in Montana. The true value of playing sports in school can't be measured in wins and losses or dollars and cents. Studies show that participation in sports, along with other extracurricular activities, is one of the best ways to teach leadership, cooperation, accountability, and other invaluable life skills. Don't just stand on the sidelines. Encourage the young people you know to get in the game. When you do, you'll be helping them get ahead in life. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Montana High School Association and the Montana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Ryan Tootell, Colton Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Sports Center. Here's some news for you. The Montana softball team dropped its final game of the Amy S. Harrison Classic on Sunday, losing 3-1 to host UC Riverside. The Grizzlies, who finished the tournament 3-1, including a shutout victory over Michigan State on Saturday, were limited to 3 hits by a pair of UCR pitchers. The Highlanders scored the only runs they would need in the bottom of the first on a 2-out infield single that scored 2 off Montana starter Tristan Achenbach.
Montana now at 9-10 on the season overall, but they do have a win over number 23 Arkansas. They will play 5 games against St. Joe's, UNLV, and Grand Canyon next weekend at the Lopes Up Classic in Phoenix. And in rodeo news, Jess Lockwood, the greatest bull rider on planet Earth, 2-time world champion, he tore his hamstring on a 91.5-point ride on Sunday. He'll be out for at least 6 months. He just had surgery in New York City, but expects to make a full recovery.
The Class AA divisional basketball tournaments open on Thursday with the Eastern AA boys and girls playing in Billings, while the Western tournaments are being hosted at Missoula Sentinel. The boys tournament on the West gets started at 9:30 on Thursday morning with Hellgate versus Big Sky. The girls tournament at 12:30 with Helena Capital versus Big Sky. In the East, the tournament's at MSU Billings. Billings West is the top seed for both the boys and the girls in the East.
What's wrong? You've been asking, but I don't have an answer. How come?
Boys and girls, if you want to do a Wing It Wednesday, you can call us right now, 329-1899, 329-1899, the phone number. We got a basket of wings for you to the Desperado Sports Tavern. You get a couple of questions right, you go get the best wings in the city of Missoula. You can also get a shirt as well, 329-1899. We'll do that right now if you would like to. If you'd like to find us on the World Wide Web, 1029ESPN.com is where you go. You can listen on the stream. You can also check us out on YouTube. You can also listen on the podcast, all the various ways. And want to remind everybody, Grizz Grates the Coaching Tree podcast series out right now. And Wayne Tinkle, episode 8, the newest episode, is out and available for your consumption. You can check that out. We have tweeted it at 1029ESPN and at Gus Tootell as well. So you can go listen to it there. Coulter, this is interesting here. The Missoula Paddleheads have put out sort of an APB for people to share on social media as their memories, their best moments with what were then the Osprey and are now the Paddleheads, minor league baseball, the team, the franchise in the city of Missoula. Again, this circles back to a recommendation in Major League Baseball, which was approved, I believe, unanimously by ownership in Major League Baseball to cut, I think, 42 minor league baseball teams around the country. That is basically a move to sort of, I guess, streamline the minor league system to some extent, cut the fat, so to speak, in another extent. This almost always, right, certainly comes back to money in some way, finances in some way. But the Pioneer League in general was on the chopping block, which, of course, includes the 3 Montana teams, Billings, Great Falls, and Missoula. And so they have tried to put together a plan to create, fan interest and sort of generate a groundswell, not so much of support. I think the support is there, but of excitement and enthusiasm and memories to sort of sway the tide a little bit and say, hey, this is something that's important to people in the towns and in the cities that have these baseball teams. And, David, I know you in particular, you grew up and minor league baseball was like your first job, right? You worked for the baseball team in your hometown?
That's correct. I worked for the Arkansas Travelers.
What class was that?
They are a AA team. When I worked for them, they were affiliated with the Angels, and now they're affiliated actually with the Seattle Mariners.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I remember when the Osprey opened in Missoula in the late 90s, and we're playing out at the Legion Field, and then they got the new park built, and obviously the updates to that, and it's been a staple of the summer around here for a long time, and so I hope that it doesn't go away, and I'm interested to see how this all plays out.
I don't know how to objectively analyze this. I mean, on a personal and non-objective level, I really hope the Osprey don't leave. I mean, it's the Paddleheads aren't one and done. I really hope that we can continue having minor league baseball in Missoula and just in Montana in general, but also from the perspective of the major league teams, I do understand where they're coming from to a large degree. When the business is all about developing players, you cannot afford to ever lose any games. And the fact that the weather in Montana, even in the summer, is somewhat volatile, you will have times where there's rainouts, and people say, okay, well, you can still make them up with doubleheaders. Well, then you're trying to these guys aren't ready to play 9-inning doubleheaders, so they're not getting the full amount of innings that they need to be playing. When they have doubleheaders, a lot of times they're 7-inning games. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. The games just aren't that. It impedes the development in terms of just learning how to play a 9-inning baseball game every single day, even if you only have a couple rainouts, or if you have a situation like the Osprey had last year where there's field damage and it costs you time. That hurts the business of minor league baseball.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying, and to some extent that's true, but I don't think that is the central like
the
rationale.
central deal is that Missoula is isolated in comparison to other Major League Baseball teams.
Right. Totally.
And these are the smallest markets, I think, by and large, and the most isolated geographically.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, having a baseball team in Missoula does impede the development of a player because riding on a bus to Provo is not that beneficial.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about riding the bus in minor league baseball, but like Durham, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina is a lot different than Missoula, Montana, than Provo, Utah. You know what I mean?
Billings, yeah, right.
Yeah, but you're on the bus forever,
right.
forever.
No question. The thing that I'm also, though, interested in is Major League Baseball and minor league baseball are two utterly separate entities. They have two completely different governances. There is a commissioner of minor league baseball, in fact, who has been on this show, and they work together on and only through a contractual agreement, a CBA, collectively bargained agreement, that allows a formalized farm system, which is minor league baseball, to feed Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so easy to think about, well, the Missoula Paddleheads are a part of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Well, they are because of the contract, but they aren't in terms of the actual franchise that is the Major League Baseball club that is the Arizona Diamondbacks. And that's true for all of the farm, all of minor league baseball. The thing that I am trying to figure out here is what is the leverage that minor league baseball would have? Because the reason this is coming up now is because the newest CBA is going to be, negotiated in this fall, like coming up in about 5 or 6 months.
Right.
And so part of what is going into that, it sounds like, for minor league baseball is the reduction of these 42 teams. And minor league baseball doesn't want it. The commissioner certainly is against it. But I don't know what the points to say, well, if you leave these teams alone, here's what we're going to do for you. And I don't know how all that works. Now, certainly Major League Baseball, it's not in their interest to not have a CBA. I mean, Major League Baseball does need a farm system. And minor league baseball has been that and will continue to be that, presumably. But I just don't know the give and take. Like in player ownership CBA agreements in professional leagues, it just makes so much more sense. It's like it's effectively how much money are we going to get for how much work that we do, or how much risk that we put our bodies at. And it's obviously much more complicated and nuanced than that, but it can come down to like you have the workforce, they want to get paid this amount, they want this much vacation, they want these things, and the ownership group wants to, obviously pad their pockets and do whatever they can to make as much money as they can because that's their goal. So you understand at least what the motivating factor is. Other than having an agreement so that guys in minor league baseball can play minor leagues and have these teams, and Major League Baseball has a feeder system, I'm not sure where this is what we want, this is what we want push is. I don't know what the rub is between the two entities. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think part of it is just purely business and bottom line numbers game.
For Major League Baseball, why they would want this.
Right. Like, all I'm saying is the guys that play in the Rookie League and the Pioneer League, so few of them actually go to the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you don't need to have that, I mean, you could just
That's not
condense
true.
it.
I mean, it is. It's like, I mean, the point is like one or two guys, right, David, are going to go to Major League Baseball. I mean, how many?
The short season league which is what the Pioneer League is essentially a league for guys that just got drafted by teams. And more often that's being replaced by guys just going to the Arizona Fall League.
Right.
Which is why the Pioneer League is on the chopping block.
Right. But it's also why there's not that many guys. I mean, I think, what are we at, like 60, 70 maybe in the history of the Osprey?
High 60s, yeah.
Made it
since
to
1998.
Major League Baseball. It's Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. We got to take a quick break. On the other side, we will come back. Hey, let's do a Wing It Wednesday. I said we'd do it. Let's do it. 329-1899, 329-1899. Give us a call right now. We will do some questions with you, do some trivia, give you some wings over to the Desperado Sports Tavern right after this. Hey, this year marks the 16th annual Customer Appreciation Day at Grizzly Hackle Fly Shop. The first Saturday in March, every year they kick off the fishing season celebrating the world's best customers. Since 1988, out on Rock Creek, they have been proudly serving the fly fishermen living in Missoula or traveling in from all over the world to fish our great waters. It's their pride and joy to know that their customers have kept them in business all these years. This year, Customer Appreciation Day will be bigger than ever. They have a great lineup of companies that will be on hand to show off their gear and answer any questions that you might have. Simms, Patagonia, Orvis, Winston Rods, Nautilus Reels, Dirty Water Fly Company, and Umpqua. Try on waders, cast rods, see new flies, or check out the latest and greatest gear in the fly fishing industry. The best fly tires also in Montana are going to be on hand showing you how to tie their favorite ties. Grand prizes and hourly giveaways from Simms, Patagonia, Yeti, Umpqua, Nautilus, Hatch, and more. The entire store, 25% off. Don't miss out on this great day, Customer Appreciation Day, Grizzly Hackle Fly Shop.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Alignment and Brakes and Shocks and Wheels and Tires. Some tire places don't offer all that, but we do to help keep you safe. And during the Les Schwab Spring Tire Sale, save up to $110 on a set of 4 select tires. Stop by or book an appointment at leschwab.com. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952. Limited time offer while supplies last. Actual discount amount depends on tire size and type. Cannot be combined with other offers. Details at leschwab.com. Seafood lovers, it's time to get cracking at the Montana Club's annual Lobster Fest. Feast on one of our 19 mouth-watering lobster dishes, live Maine lobster, succulent lobster tail, and tantalizing one-of-a-kind lobster specialties. 3 big days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, March 5th through the 7th. It only happens once a year. Don't miss it. See the menu at montanaclub.com. The Montana Club's Lobster Fest on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Hey, Gus, you ever heard of Magic Johnson?
Rings a bell.
One of the greatest basketball superstars of all time played for a man named Judd Heathcote at Michigan State. And guess what? Judd Heathcote started his career at the University of Montana.
Coulter, did you know that 2 University of Montana head coaches have been head coaches in the NBA and 1 on Team USA?
Isn't that amazing?
And that's why we've created Grizz Greats, the Coaching Tree podcast. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Just search Grizz Greats.
It's a phenomenal and historic podcast series proudly presented by Blackfoot Communications and Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate.
Coulter, people look at the calendar, may think about college basketball, March Madness, various things going on in the professional world, but this is an unbelievable time of year for high school sports.
In February, the competition really ratchets up in high school sports. We're headed toward the state tournaments of both basketball and wrestling, and we'll cover it all at Tootell and Nuanez, 4 to 6 p.m. every single weekday on 102.9 ESPN.
That's right, covering what matters in the state of Montana. Montana's #1 sports talk radio show, Tootell and Nuanez.
Turn your whiskers into wishes. Make-A-Wish Montana is holding their annual No Razor fundraiser. 60 Montana children with critical illnesses are waiting for their one true wish to be granted. Your magnificent mane can help raise money that can help kids that have a wish and desperately need for that wish to come true. Fun, easy, and for the kids. There will be prizes for top fundraisers, events throughout the state, and one fuzzy contestant will walk home as the best beard in Montana. Register your beard, real or fake, at montanabeardies.com. Beard on, Montana.
Join the Bitterroot Water Forum for the 2020 International Fly Fishing Film Festival Thursday, March 5th at the Bedford Building in Hamilton at 7 p.m. Doors open at 6. Festival showcases films from all corners of the globe, highlighting the passion and culture of fly fishing. Tickets are available at the Bitterroot Water Forum office, at the Freestone Fly Shop, and the Bitterroot Brewery. $13 in advance, $15 at the door, door prizes, and a raffle to win a float trip for 2.
If it matters to Missoula, it matters to us. Ryan Tootell and Coulter Nuanez on 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Tootell, Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, broadcasting live from the Kurtz Polaris Studios. Kurtz Polaris at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula, Highway 83 in Sealy. Get in there. Check them out. Snowmobiles, dirt bikes, everything you need for the end of the winter season, the start of the spring season, Kurtz Polaris. If you missed anything in the show, listen on the podcast. The podcast is available all the time. It is available on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can get the Tootell Nuanez podcast, listen to it, review it, rate it. We appreciate that very, very much. It's brought to us by the Wingate by Wyndham Hotel and Blackfoot Communications. By the way, would you like a new car? Why don't you go to Mildenberger Motors in Hamilton, serving Western Montana for over 60 years. Get in, test drive a Duramax, GMC, or Chevy. Feel the difference and get the best deal at Mildenberger Motors. Coulter, here's what I'm going to do. We have absolutely run out of time on this. I've ruined this. Okay? You ready for my questions?
Yeah, rapid fire. Let's go.
Okay. What city, which is the capital of Idaho, is also hosting the Big Sky Conference tournament?
Boise.
What American city had the highest percent growth per capita for its population in 2018?
Boise.
What is the opposite of a blind girl?
Boise.
Bang!
You have really outdone yourself. The Grizz have won 10 Grizz have won Big Sky Tournament MVP honors throughout the history of the Big Sky Tournament. Name one.
Tournament MVP.
Tournament MVP.
Well, Michael Ogine.
Michael Ogine. There's one. This Bobcat coach is the last Montana State player to win Big Sky Tournament MVP.
I believe that would be Danny Sprinkle.
If you can name there's only 4 players that have won Tournament MVP multiple times, including one Grizz. Who?
Will Cherry.
Nope. He was once.
Larry
won 0.
Yeah.
Kareem Jamar. Back to back.
Excellent.
If you can name the 3-time tournament MVP, the only 3-time tournament MVP, buy your first lunch in Boise.
Let's pick this up tomorrow.
Do you want to know?
No, I want my lunch.
Okay.
Save it. Cliffhanger. Boys and girls, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. ESPN Radio.
In Western Montana, we know shopping local matters, and you may think you'd pay more for the quality and customer service that comes with it, but not at Selway Armory. Selway Armory is local.